Commander Zara Vexus stood at the big window of Station Nexus 7. She watched another ship float away into the dark space. The silver ship belonged to the Altarian Empire. It was the 15th ship this month to come and ask for a meeting with her people. Like all the others before it, she had said no without thinking twice. The Keepers were very old people. They have been around for thousands of years. They were the guardians of the most powerful space travel technology in the whole galaxy. Their quantum drive systems could make ships travel across huge distances in just hours. Other races needed months to cover the same distance. For 3,000 years, the Keepers had stayed neutral. They sold their services to whoever paid the most money, but they never made permanent friends with anyone. Zara's helper, Lieutenant Kane Morrison, walked up to her. He carried the daily reports in his hands. Kane was human, which made him different from most people who worked directly with the Keepers. His face looked worried as he spoke. "The Galactic Council is getting angry," he said. "They say they will stop trading with us if we don't pick a partner for the new expansion into the Outer Rim territories." Zara barely looked at the datapad. He held out. She had heard these same threats many times before. The Keepers had survived by staying independent. She would not be the first commander to break that old tradition. Every species that came to them wanted the same thing. They all wanted exclusive access to Keeper technology. In exchange, they promised protection and resources, but protection from what? The Keepers had never needed anyone's help before. "Let them make threats," she said. Her voice carried the weight of centuries of tradition. "We are the Keepers. We do not serve others, others serve us." Kane nodded his head, but his face still looked troubled. Being one of the few humans who worked directly with the Keepers, he understood both sides better than most people. "Commander, may I speak freely?" "You may." "The galaxy is changing. The conflicts in the Outer Rim are getting worse. The old ways of doing business might not work anymore. Maybe it's time to think about a different approach." Zara turned away. From the window, her bright eyes looked at Kane carefully. The Keepers had eyes that glowed with a soft light. It was one of the things that made them different from other species. Different how? Maybe the right partner isn't about who offers the most money. Maybe it's about who offers something we've never had before. Before Zara could answer, a soft alarm sound came through the station. A new ship was coming toward them. It was asking for permission to dock. Kane looked at his scanner and his face showed surprise. "It's a human ship," he said. His voice showed that he was surprised. "But it's not like any human ship I've seen before. It's very small, barely bigger than a frigate-class vessel." Zara felt curious despite herself. In her experience, species that wanted to impress the Keepers always sent their biggest and most fancy ships. They came with huge crews and expensive gifts. They tried to show off their wealth and power. "What is the ship's name?" "The Wanderer. Captain Lisa Chun is in command." "Chun?" Zara thought about the name. Human names are so strange. "Very well, we shall see what this Lisa Chun has to offer that the others did not." Zara had been commander of the Keepers for over 200 years. In that time, she had met with thousands of ambassadors, diplomats, and leaders. They all came with the same basic offer. They wanted Keeper technology, and they were willing to pay for it. Some offered money, some offered rare materials, some offered military protection. A few even offered marriage alliances, but they all wanted to own the Keepers in some way. They wanted exclusive deals. They wanted to be the only ones with access to quantum drive technology. They wanted to use the Keepers' power to defeat their enemies and expand their empires. The Keepers had always said no to these deals. They had learned long ago that taking sides in galactic politics was dangerous. It was better to remain neutral and sell their services to everyone. This way they stayed safe and rich, but lately Zara had been feeling restless. The same meetings, the same offers, the same rejections. It was all becoming very boring. She wondered if there was something more to life than just making money and staying neutral. Kane had noticed her mood. He was a good officer and a good friend. He had been with the Keepers for 10 years now. He was one of the few humans who had ever been allowed to work closely with them. Most species found the Keepers too proud and too distant. But Kane had earned their respect through hard work and loyalty. "Commander," Kane said carefully, "I've been thinking about what you said last week, about feeling like something is missing." Zara looked at him. "What about it?" "Maybe what's missing is purpose. For 3,000 years, we've been merchants. We sell our technology and we stay neutral. But what if we could be something more? What if we could be explorers again?" Zara had been thinking the same thing. Long ago, the Keepers had been great explorers. They had discovered the quantum drive technology while exploring the far edges of the galaxy. They had been brave and curious and always looking for new things. But somewhere along the way, they had become comfortable. They had stopped exploring and started just making money. "The Outer Rim expansion is the biggest exploration project in 1,000 years, Kane continued. "New worlds, new species, new challenges. If we picked the right partner, we could be part of that. We could be explorers again instead of just merchants." "And you think humans might be the right partner?" Zara asked. "I think humans might be different from the others. They're still young as a species. They still have that curiosity and drive to explore. They haven't become comfortable." Yet, Zara thought about this. Humans were indeed different. They were newer to space travel than most species. They had only been traveling between stars for a few hundred years. Most other species had been doing it for thousands of years. Humans were still excited about discovering new things, but humans were also weak compared to the great galactic powers. They controlled only a small number of star systems. Their technology was primitive compared to the Keepers. Their military was tiny compared to the great empires. What could they possibly offer that the mighty Altarian Empire or the rich Centauri Federation could not? The docking bay alert sounded again. The human ship was getting closer. Soon, Captain Lisa Chun would be aboard Station Nexus 7. Zara would meet with her, listen to her proposal, and then most likely send her away like all the others, but something felt different this time. Maybe it was Kane's words about exploration. Maybe it was her own restlessness. Maybe it was just curiosity about why such a small ship had come to make such a big request. "Prepare the meeting room," Zara told Kane. "Let's see what this human captain has to say." As Kane left to make the preparations, Zara looked out the window again. The Wanderer was now close enough to see clearly. It was indeed a small ship. Its hull was covered with patches and repairs. It looked like it had been through many battles and many long journeys. It was not the kind of ship that usually came to Station Nexus 7. Most visitors came in grand ships, with polished hulls and perfect paint jobs. They came with large crews and expensive gifts. They came to show off their wealth and power. But this little human ship looked like it had actually been used for real work. It looked like it had been places and done things. Zara found herself more curious than she had been in years. What kind of captain would come to the Keepers in such a ship? What kind of offer would she make? And why did Zara suddenly feel like this meeting might be different from all the others? The Wanderer docked with a soft bump. Soon she would have her answers. Captain Lisa Chun had been getting ready for this moment for 6 months. She was not like the big diplomatic missions that had come before her. She arrived at Station Nexus 7 with a crew of only 12 people. Her ship had seen better days. The Wanderer showed the marks of many journeys through unknown space. Its outer shell was patched and fixed many times. Its systems were put together with spare parts from many different worlds. When the docking bay doors opened, Zara was there to meet her in person. This was something she had not done for any other visitor. She expected to see a group of diplomats in fancy clothes. Instead, she found just one woman in a worn flight suit. The woman carried nothing but a small bag. "Commander Vexus," Lisa said with a small bow. "Thank you for agreeing to see me." Zara looked at the human woman carefully. Lisa was not very tall, but she stood straight and confident. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple style. Her clothes were clean but showed signs of long use. Most importantly, her eyes were bright and alert. They were the eyes of someone who had seen many things and was not afraid to see more. I must say, Captain Chun, your approach is very unusual. Where are your advisors? Where are your gifts? Where is your formal presentation? Lisa smiled. Something about her expression made Zara stop and think. It was not the careful smile of a politician. It was not the desperate smile of someone who needed help. It was real and honest. It was almost amused. I don't have any of those things, Lisa said. But I do have something I think you'll find interesting. I have a story. Zara made a gesture for her to continue. She was curious despite herself. In all her years as commander, no one had ever offered her a story instead of treasure or technology. 3 months ago, we were exploring the desolate sector. That's a region of space where most people don't go. We found a distress beacon there. A Keeper research vessel had suffered a terrible drive failure. It was trapped in a decaying orbit around a dead star. The crew had been there for weeks. Their supplies were running low. Zara's face became hard. That's impossible. Our vessels have backup communication systems? They would have called for help. They tried, Lisa said. But the star's electromagnetic field was interfering with their quantum transmitters. The energy from the dying star was blocking their signals. They were cut off from everyone. No one knew they were there. What does this have to do with your proposal? We rescued them. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Zara stared at the human captain. She looked for signs that Lisa was lying. But the woman's face was calm and honest. You rescued a Keeper vessel? With that ship? Zara asked. Lisa nodded. The Wanderer might not look like much, but she has a few tricks. We managed to create a makeshift quantum anchor. We used it to pull them out of the gravity well. Your people are alive today because 12 humans in a patched-up ship decided to help. We didn't expect anything in return. We did it because it was the right thing to do. Zara felt something strange in her chest. It was like a small shock of surprise. In 3,000 years of careful neutrality, no one had ever helped the Keepers without expecting immediate payment. Everyone always wanted something in return. The crew you rescued, Zara said slowly. What were their names? Dr. Marcus Vell was the lead researcher. Engineer Kira Knox was second in command. There was also a young technician named Joran Cast. They were studying the effects of stellar radiation on quantum field generators. Zara knew these names. She had read the report when the research vessel failed to return on schedule. The official report said they had been lost in a navigation error. She had never known the real story. Dr. Vell filed a report when they returned, Zara said. He said they were rescued by a passing merchant vessel. He never mentioned it was humans. We asked him not to, Lisa said. We didn't want to cause any political problems. We just wanted to help. This was even more surprising. Most species would have made sure everyone knew about their good deed. They would have used it to gain favor with the Keepers. But these humans had helped and then asked for nothing. They had even kept it secret. What do you want from us, Captain? Zara asked. Partnership. Not servitude, not exclusive deals, but real partnership. The humans are heading into the Outer Rim. We're going to face things out there that none of us have seen before. We could use friends who understand the value of helping each other. And what do you offer in return? Lisa's smile became wider. Something no one else has offered you. The chance to explore the unknown together as equals. Zara walked to the window of the docking bay. She could see the Wanderer through the transparent material. The ship really did look worn and used. But it also looked like it had been cared for. Every patch and repair had been done with skill and attention. Most species come here with their biggest ships, Zara said. They bring hundreds of people. And expensive gifts. They try to impress us with their wealth and power. You come with 12 people and a story. Why? Because wealth and power aren't what matter when you're exploring the unknown, Lisa said. What matters is trust. What matters is knowing that your partner will help you when things go wrong. What matters is knowing that they won't abandon you when the going gets tough. Zara thought about this. The keepers had always been approached, as if they were merchants. People came to buy their services. But Lisa was talking about something different. She was talking about friendship. "Tell me about your crew," Zara said. "My engineer is Tony Rodriguez. He's the one who figured out how to build the quantum anchor that saved your people. My navigator is Betty Williams. She can plot a course through any kind of space, even when the instruments don't work. My medic is Danny Kim. He's saved more lives than I can count." Lisa continued talking about each member of her crew. She spoke about them with respect and affection. It was clear that she cared about them as people, not just as workers. "They sound like good people," Zara said. "They are. And they're not the only ones. Humanity has millions of people like them. People who are brave and curious and willing to help others. People who want to explore and discover new things. People who understand that we're all in this together." Zara had never heard anyone talk about their species this way. Most ambassadors talked about their military strength or their economic power. They talked about what they could take or what they could destroy. Lisa talked about what her people could give and what they could build. "The Outer Rim is dangerous," Zara said. "There are unknown phenomena there. There are hostile species. There are regions where our technology doesn't work properly." "Many expeditions have been lost." "I know," Lisa said. "That's exactly why we need each other. The Keepers have the best navigation technology in the galaxy. Humans have adaptability and problem-solving skills. Together, we could handle things that neither of us could manage alone." Zara turned back to face the human captain. "You're asking me to break 3,000 years of tradition. You're asking me to risk the safety and independence of my people." "I'm asking you to remember what the Keepers used to be," Lisa said. "Before you became merchants, you were explorers. You were the people who discovered quantum drive technology in the first place. You were brave and curious and always looking for new things. I'm asking you to be that again." These words hit Zara like a physical blow. How did this human know about the old days? How did she know about the Keepers' history as explorers? "You've studied our history," Zara said. "I've studied everyone's history. That's what explorers do. We learn about the people we meet. We try to understand them. And what I understand about the Keepers is that you're not really happy being merchants. You miss the old days when every star system was a new adventure." Zara felt a strange emotion rising in her chest. It was something she had not felt for a long time. It was excitement. It was the feeling of possibility. "Even if I wanted to consider your proposal," Zara said, "I would need to convince the council. They are very set in their ways. They would need proof that humans are worthy partners." "What kind of proof?" "I don't know yet, but I will think about it." Lisa nodded. "I understand. This is a big decision. Take all the time you need." As Lisa prepared to leave, Zara called out to her, "Captain Chen, why did you really come here? You could have sent an official diplomatic mission. You could have come with a bigger ship and more people. Why did you come alone?" Lisa stopped and turned back. "Because I wanted you to see the real U.S., not the fancy version that diplomats show, but the real people we are. I wanted you to know that if you partner with humans, you'll be partnering with people who care more about doing the right thing than about looking impressive." After Lisa left, Zara stood alone in the docking bay. She watched through the window as the Wanderer prepared to undock. The little ship looked so small compared to the great vessels that usually visited Station Nexus 7, but somehow it also looked more real than any of the others. For the first time in years, Zara felt like she had met someone who understood what she was really looking for. Not someone who wanted to use the Keepers, but someone who wanted to explore with them. News about the human captain's strange proposal spread quickly through Station Nexus 7, while Zara thought about Lisa's words. The other members of the Keeper Council wanted to know why she was even thinking about partnership with such a small species. The council met in the great chamber at the center of the station. 12 of the oldest and most respected keepers sat around a circular table. Their glowing eyes showed different emotions. Some looked curious, others looked angry, most looked confused. Humans control barely a dozen star systems, said Counselor Vex. He was one of the oldest members of the council. His voice was deep and serious. They have no great fleet. They have no vast resources. What could they possibly offer us? Zara had been asking herself the same question. But every time she tried to dismiss Lisa's proposal, she found herself thinking about the rescue in the desolate sector. 3 of her own people had been saved by humans who had nothing to gain from helping them. Perhaps, she said slowly, we have been measuring worth by the wrong standards. What do you mean? Asked Counselor next. She was younger than Vex, but just as traditional in her thinking. For 3,000 years, we have judged potential partners by their wealth and power. We have asked what they can give us, not what we can accomplish together. Maybe it's time to try a different approach. The other counselors began talking. At once, some said humans were too weak to be useful partners. Others said they were too unpredictable to be trusted. A few said the whole idea was dangerous and foolish. The humans are newcomers to space, said Counselor Rex. They have been traveling between stars for only a few centuries. How can they possibly help us explore the outer rim? Because they are still newcomers, Zara replied. They still have the curiosity and courage that comes with being young. They haven't become comfortable and careful like the older species. Comfortable and careful keeps us alive, Vex said firmly. Our neutrality has protected us for thousands of years. Why should we risk that for a species we barely know? The debate continued for hours. Some counselors supported the idea of at least talking to the humans more. Others were completely against it. No one could agree on what to do. Finally, Zara made a decision that surprised everyone, including herself. I propose a test, she announced. Captain Chun and her crew will accompany our deep-range scout vessel into the Forbidden Zone. If they prove themselves worthy partners, we will consider their proposal. The room became very quiet. Everyone knew about the Forbidden Zone. It was a region of space where strange things happened. The laws of physics seemed to work differently there. Even Keeper technology had trouble functioning in that area. The Forbidden Zone? Counselor Nex asked. Are you serious? That place is incredibly dangerous. Which is exactly why this test will be meaningful, Zara replied. If Captain Chen and her crew cannot handle the dangers of the Forbidden Zone, they certainly cannot handle the challenges of the Outer Rim. How many survey teams have we lost in the Forbidden Zone? Asked Counselor Rex. 3 in the past decade, Zara admitted, but those were solo missions. This time we will have 2 ships working together. If the humans are truly worthy partners, they will find a way to help us succeed where others have failed. The council voted. 7 members supported the test. 5 opposed it. The test was approved. Kane Morrison was chosen to lead the Keeper vessel for the mission. He was one of the few Keepers who had experience working with humans. His ship was called the Starweaver. It was a beautiful vessel with advanced quantum drives and the best sensors the Keepers had ever built. When Kane told Lisa about the test, she accepted without hesitation. She didn't ask about the dangers. She didn't ask for special equipment or additional crew. She just asked one simple question. When do we leave? Within the hour, Kane replied. Are you sure about this, Captain? The Forbidden Zone has claimed many lives over the years. I'm sure, Lisa said. My crew and I didn't come this far to back down from a challenge. As the 2 ships prepared to leave, Kane went to see Zara privately. He found her in her office, looking at star charts of the Forbidden Zone. Commander, are you certain about this? He asked. The Forbidden Zone is unpredictable. We've lost experienced crews there before. What if something happens to the humans? Then we will know they were not the right partners for us, Zara replied. But her voice was not as confident as her words. She was starting to worry about her decision, and if they succeed, if they prove themselves worthy, then perhaps it will be time for the Keepers to remember what we used to be. Kane nodded and left to prepare for the mission. But he was worried too. He had read the reports from the lost survey teams. The Forbidden Zone was a place where ships disappeared without warning. It was a place where the normal rules didn't apply. An hour later, both ships were ready to leave. The Starweaver was elegant and powerful. Its hull gleamed with a silver light. Its engines hummed with quiet efficiency. The Wanderer looked small and worn beside it, but Lisa's crew seemed calm and confident as they prepared for departure. "All systems ready on the Starweaver," Kane reported over the communication channel. "The Wanderer is ready too," Lisa replied. "We're following your lead, Commander Morrison." "Understood." Beginning jump sequence in 10 seconds. The two ships activated their quantum drives at the same time. Space bent around them as they entered hyperspace. The journey to the Forbidden Zone would take 6 hours. It would be the last easy part of their mission. During the journey, Kane and Lisa talked over the communication channel. Kane told her about the strange things that happened in the Forbidden Zone. Space itself seemed to ripple and twist there. Instruments gave false readings. Navigation systems failed without warning. Ships that entered the zone sometimes came out completely different from how they went in. "What do you think causes it?" Lisa asked. "We don't know," Kane admitted. "Some scientists think it's the result of an ancient experiment gone wrong. Others believe it's a natural phenomenon we don't understand yet. A few even think it might be alive somehow." "Alive?" "The zone seems to react to the presence of ships. It's almost like it's testing them somehow. Ships that try to force their way through with brute power usually fail, but ships that approach it with respect and caution sometimes succeed." Lisa thought about this. "So it's not just about having the best technology, it's about having the right attitude." "Exactly. Which is why this test is so important. If the humans can work with us to navigate the Forbidden Zone, it will show that our species can truly cooperate." When they arrived at the edge of the Forbidden Zone, both crews could see why it had gotten its name. The space ahead of them looked wrong somehow. Stars seemed to bend and twist. Colors that shouldn't exist painted the darkness in strange patterns. "Sensor readings are already becoming unstable," Kane reported. "Our quantum drives are showing reduced efficiency." "The Wanderer is holding steady," Lisa replied. "We're switching to conventional engines and visual navigation. It's slower, but it might be more reliable in these conditions." This was the first sign that the humans might have something valuable to offer. While the advanced Keeper technology was already struggling with the zone's strange effects, the human simpler approach was working better. "Interesting strategy," Kane said. "Perhaps we should follow your example." "Feel free to try it," Lisa replied. "But keep your quantum drives ready. We might need them in an emergency." As the two ships moved deeper into the Forbidden Zone, the strangeness around them grew stronger. The Starweaver's instruments began giving conflicting readings. Its navigation computer couldn't decide which direction was forward. But the Wanderer continued to move steadily ahead, using nothing but visual references and basic calculations. "How are you managing to navigate so well?" Kane asked. "We're not trying to fight the zone," Lisa explained. "We're trying to work with it. Instead of forcing our way through, we're letting it guide us to where we need to go." "That sounds dangerous." "Everything about this place is dangerous. But sometimes the best way to handle danger is to respect it instead of trying to overcome it." Kane began to understand what Zara had seen in the humans. They didn't approach problems the same way other species did. They were flexible and adaptable. They found solutions that others missed. The real test was still ahead of them. Somewhere in the depths of the Forbidden Zone, they would find whatever was causing the strange effects. And when they did, they would discover whether humans and Keepers could truly work together as equals. The Forbidden Zone lived up to its frightening reputation. Within hours of entering the strange region, both the Starweaver and the Wanderer found their instruments acting very strangely. Space itself seemed to ripple and bend around them. Navigation hazards appeared and disappeared without any warning. Kane Morrison watched his control panels with growing concern. The readings made no sense. His quantum drives were working at only 60% power. The spatial distortions were interfering with his field generators. Even worse, his navigation computer kept giving him different directions to the same destination. Our quantum drives are operating at 60% efficiency, Kane reported over the communication channel. The spatial distortions are interfering with our field generators. I'm not sure how much longer we can maintain our current course. The Wanderer is holding steady, Lisa's voice came back clearly. We're running on conventional engines and using visual navigation. It's slower, but more reliable in these conditions. We're also using manual calculations instead of computer navigation. Zara, who was monitoring the mission from Station Nexus 7, found herself impressed. While the advanced Keeper technology struggled with the zone's strange effects, the humans' more basic approach was proving surprisingly effective. Their willingness to use old methods when new ones failed showed real wisdom. The two ships continued deeper into the zone. The strangeness around them grew stronger with each passing hour. Colors that had no names painted the darkness around them. Stars seemed to dance and move when no one was looking directly at them. Even the concept of distance became unclear. I'm reading something large ahead, Kane announced. But my sensors can't tell me what it is. The readings keep changing. We see it too, Lisa replied. It looks like a ship, but it's huge. Much bigger than anything in our databases. What they had found was the source of the zone's strangeness. It was a massive, derelict ship of unknown origin. The vessel was at least 10 times larger than the biggest ship either human or Keeper had ever built. Its hull was made of materials that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Sometimes it looked like metal. Sometimes it looked like crystal. Sometimes it looked like something that had no name. Energy readings from the derelict showed it was still partially active, despite appearing to be thousands of years old. Lights flickered along its surface in patterns that hurt to look at directly. The ship seemed to pulse with a slow, steady rhythm like a giant heartbeat. We should return and report our findings, Kane said over the communication channel. This vessel is beyond anything in our databases. We need to bring back a full research team. I agree we should be careful, Lisa replied. But we need to get closer to collect meaningful data. The Wanderer's sensors might be less sophisticated than yours, but they're also less likely to be affected by whatever's causing the interference. Kane thought about this. The human captain was right. His advanced sensors were being confused by the strange energies coming from the derelict. But the Wanderer's simpler instruments might be able to get readings that his ship could not. What do you propose? Kane asked. We work together. The Wanderer can serve as the primary scout vessel while the Starweaver provides backup and analysis. If something goes wrong, your quantum drives can get us out of here faster than our conventional engines. This was exactly the kind of cooperation Zara had hoped to see. Instead of competing or trying to prove who was better, the two ships were finding ways to use their different strengths together. What followed was a careful dance of exploration. The Wanderer, with its crew of adaptable humans, moved closer to the derelict ship. Meanwhile, the Starweaver stayed at a safe distance and used its powerful computers to analyze the data the humans collected. Lisa's engineer, Tony Rodriguez, proved especially valuable during this phase. While the Keeper sensors were confused by the derelict's strange energies, Tony was able to jury-rig the Wanderer's systems to filter out the interference. His modifications weren't elegant, but they worked. I'm getting clearer readings now, Tony reported to both ships. This thing is definitely artificial, but the technology is completely unknown. The hull seems to be made of some kind of programmable matter. It can change its properties at will. Programmable matter? Kane asked. That's only theoretical technology. No one has ever actually built anything like that. Well, someone did, Lisa said. The question is who, and why did they leave it here? The answer came sooner than anyone expected. As the Wanderer moved closer to scan a particular section of the hull, the derelict ship suddenly came to life. Lights blazed along its surface. Energy weapons that had been hidden for thousands of years suddenly revealed themselves. Evasive maneuvers. Lisa shouted as energy beams lanced through space around them. Kane, can you analyze their targeting system? The Starweaver's computers went to work immediately. "They're using some form of predictive algorithm," Kane reported. "The system is anticipating our movements based on our previous actions. It's learning our flight patterns." "Then we need to be unpredictable," Lisa said. She began flying the Wanderer in a pattern that seemed completely random. But it wasn't random at all. It was based on an old human game called rock, paper, scissors. The pattern was so illogical that the alien targeting system couldn't figure out what she was going to do next. The strategy worked. The derelict's weapons fired where the Wanderer was supposed to be, not where it actually was. Meanwhile, Kane used the distraction to get detailed scans of the weapon systems. "I'm reading massive power buildups," Kane warned. "I think it's preparing to fire something. Much bigger than those beam weapons." "Time to go," Lisa agreed. "But first, let's give it something to think about." Before Kane could ask what she meant, the Wanderer fired a single torpedo at the derelict. Not at any vital system, but at a random section of hull. The torpedo exploded harmlessly against the ship's shields, but it seemed to confuse the ancient targeting system. "Why did you do that?" Kane asked as both ships began to retreat. "I wanted to see how it would react," Lisa explained. "Look at your sensors." "It's not following us. It's trying to figure out why we attacked such an unimportant target." Kane checked his readings. Lisa was right. The derelict had stopped firing and seemed to be analyzing the spot where the torpedo had hit. The ancient artificial intelligence was apparently still trying to understand human logic. "That was either very clever or very crazy," Kane said. "Sometimes there's not much difference," Lisa replied. The two ships managed to escape the derelict's range and return safely to the edge of the Forbidden Zone, but more importantly, they had demonstrated something that Zara had hoped to see. They had worked together as true equals, each contributing their unique strengths to overcome a challenge that neither could have handled alone during the journey. Back to Station Nexus 7, Kane found himself thinking about what had happened. The mission had been successful not because either ship was superior to the other, but because they had been willing to cooperate and learn from each other. The humans had provided flexibility and creative thinking. They had found solutions that the Keepers' advanced technology couldn't achieve. But the Keepers had provided analysis and backup support that had been equally important. "Lisa," Kane said over the communication channel, "I owe you an apology." "For what?" "I didn't think humans could contribute much to this mission. I thought your technology was too primitive and your experience too limited. I was wrong." "Don't worry about it," Lisa replied. "A lot of people make that mistake. They think that newer and more advanced always means better, but sometimes the old ways work best." "Is that why you used rock, paper, scissors to confuse the targeting system?" Lisa laughed. "You figured that out? I'm impressed." "Yes, that's exactly what I did. Sometimes the best way to beat a computer is to think like a human." As they approached Station Nexus 7, both crews knew that everything had changed. They had faced the unknown together and succeeded. They had proven that cooperation between their species was not only possible but beneficial. Kane sent his report to Commander Zara as soon as they docked. The mission had been a complete success. The humans had proven themselves worthy partners. More importantly, they had shown that the combination of Keeper technology and human adaptability could accomplish things that neither could achieve alone. Zara read the report with growing excitement. For the first time in centuries, she felt like the Keepers had found something more valuable than money or neutrality. They had found the possibility of real friendship and true exploration. The test was over. Now came the hard part, convincing the rest of the Council that the future of the Keepers lay not in isolation, but in partnership with the strangest and most unpredictable species in the galaxy. The success of the Forbidden Zone mission changed everything on Station Nexus 7. When the Keeper Council met again, the mood in the Great Chamber was completely different. Even the most traditional members could not ignore what had happened. Counselor Vex, who had been one of the strongest opponents of the human proposal, was the first to speak. His voice was quieter than usual, and he seemed thoughtful rather than angry. "I have read Commander Morrison's report 3 times, he said. The humans saved our people in the desolate sector without asking for anything in return. They proved themselves in the Forbidden Zone by working as true partners with our crew. Their captain shows wisdom that goes beyond her years. Zara nodded. Though she knew the decision had really been made the moment she had seen Lisa Chun walk off that worn ship with nothing but a story and a proposal. The humans offer something we have forgotten during our centuries of isolation. They offer the spirit of true exploration. But what are the exact terms? Asked Counselor Nex. What do we give them, and what do they give us? How do we make sure this partnership is fair to both sides? Equal partnership, Zara replied. We share our navigation technology. They share their adaptability and creative thinking. Together we explore the outer rim and face whatever challenges wait for us there. Equal partnership? Counselor Rex looked surprised. But we are the more advanced species. We have better technology and more experience in space travel. Shouldn't we be the senior partners? That kind of thinking is exactly what has kept us isolated for 3,000 years, Zara said firmly. Every species that has approached us before wanted to be either our masters or our servants. The humans are the first to suggest that we work together as equals. What about our neutrality? Asked another counselor. If we partner with humans, other species might see us as taking sides in galactic politics. Our neutrality has served us well, Zara admitted. But it has also made us stagnant. We have become so focused on avoiding conflict that we have forgotten how to grow and learn. The debate continued for several hours, but it was different from the previous meeting. This time, most of the counselors were asking practical questions about how the partnership would work, not whether it should exist at all. Finally, the council voted. This time, 11 members supported the partnership. Only one opposed it. The motion passed by the largest margin in Keeper history. When the announcement was made public, it sent shockwaves through the diplomatic community. Species that had courted the Keepers for decades were outraged that humans had succeeded where they had failed. The Altarian Empire sent an angry message demanding to know why their offer had been rejected in favor of such a minor species, but Zara had no regrets. She stood once again on the observation deck of Station Nexus 7. Watching as the Wanderer prepared to leave on its first official mission as a Keeper ally. This time, the small human ship was not alone. 3 Keeper vessels would accompany it to the outer rim. Lisa Chun had requested a small group of Keeper navigators to help with the long journey ahead. In exchange, Kane Morrison and several other humans would transfer to Keeper vessels to serve as advisors and cultural liaisons. Commander? Kane approached her for the last time before his transfer to the human fleet. May I ask what really changed your mind about Captain Chun and her proposal? Zara thought about the question carefully. She had been asked this same question by many people over the past few days. Each time she had given a slightly different answer, but Kane deserved the complete truth. For 3,000 years, every species that approached us wanted something from us, she said. They wanted our technology, our knowledge, our services. They saw us as a resource to be exploited or a tool to be used. Captain Chun was the first person to offer us something we had lost. What was that? The chance to be explorers again instead of merchants. The chance to discover new things instead of just selling old knowledge. The chance to have real friends instead of just customers. Kane nodded slowly. And you think this partnership will work? Humans and Keepers are very different. Nuts. Exactly why it will work, Zara said. We are different, but our differences complement each other. Your people bring creativity and adaptability. We bring knowledge and experience. Together, we can accomplish things that neither of us could achieve alone. The Forbidden Zone mission proved that, Kane agreed. Yes, it did. But more than that, it showed me something I had forgotten. The joy of discovery. The excitement of facing the unknown with trusted companions. I had not felt that way in centuries. As they watched, the Wanderer's engines began to glow with preparation for departure. The ship still looked small and worn compared to the sleek Keeper vessels that would accompany it. But now Zara saw its patches and repairs differently. They were not signs of weakness. They were proof that the ship and its crew had been places and done things. "There's something else," Zara said. "Something that Captain Chun said during our first meeting." "What was that?" "She said that true partnership means knowing that your ally will help you when things go wrong. She said it means knowing that they won't abandon you when the going gets tough." Kane smiled. "That sounds like something Lisa would say." "For 3,000 years, we have avoided making that kind of commitment to anyone. We have stayed neutral and independent because we were afraid of being disappointed or betrayed. But watching your species rescue our people in the desolate sector, I realized something important." "What?" "The risk of disappointment is worth taking if it means we might find real friendship." The departure ceremony was simple but meaningful. Representatives from both species gathered in the main docking bay to see the joint fleet off. Lisa Chun made a short speech about the adventure that lay ahead. She talked about the new worlds they would discover and the challenges they would face together. 6 months ago, the Wanderer came to Station Nexus 7 with nothing but a story and a dream, Lisa said. Today, we leave as partners and friends. We don't know what we'll find in the Outer Rim, but we know we'll face it together. Zara also spoke. Her words were formal, as befitted a Keeper commander, but her emotion was genuine. For 3,000 years, the Keepers have traveled the galaxy alone, she said. Today, that changes. We go forward not as merchants or neutral observers, but as explorers and partners. The Outer Rim holds many mysteries, but we will uncover them together. As the ships prepared for their final departure, Zara received a message from the Galactic Council. They were demanding an immediate meeting to discuss the implications of the Keeper-Human Alliance. Several major powers were threatening economic sanctions. Others were demanding equal partnerships of their own. Zara deleted the message without reading it completely. The old politics of the galaxy no longer interested her. Let the great empires argue and threaten. The Keepers had found something more valuable than political influence or economic advantage. They had found a species that shared their love of discovery and their willingness to help others. The joint fleet activated their quantum drives and disappeared into hyperspace. Watching them go, Zara felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She was sending her people into unknown danger, but she was also giving them the chance to be what they had always been meant to be. 3 months later, the first reports began. Coming back from the Outer Rim, the joint expedition had established contact with 2 new species. They had discovered a star system with planets that defied all known laws of physics. They had found evidence of an ancient civilization that had built structures larger than most moons. More importantly, the partnership between humans and Keepers was working better than anyone had dared to hope. The human ability to adapt and improvise perfectly complemented the Keeper knowledge of space travel and alien cultures. Together, they were making discoveries that neither species could have made alone, but the best news came in a personal message from Lisa Chun to Zara. The message was short, but it said everything that needed to be said. Commander Zara, we found something amazing out here. We found proof that the universe is stranger and more wonderful than any of us imagined. But the most amazing thing we found was that we make a pretty good team. Thank you for taking a chance on us. The adventure is just beginning. Zara read the message several times, then saved it in her personal files. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Keepers were not alone in the galaxy. They had friends, partners, and fellow explorers. The future was uncertain, but it was also full of possibilities. Standing at her window, looking out at the stars, Zara smiled. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, and for the first time in 3,000 years, the Keepers would not be discovering. Then alone, the age of isolation was over. The age of partnership had begun.